Hello everyone, and welcome back to a delayed 1 point safety show. I can only apologise for last week being off, so I'll start with an apology and say sorry I was ill. But we're back now. We're back on for another episode with my glorious co-host Scouse Andy. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. How you been doing?
Yeah, better over COVID.
Yeah.
Just knocked me for six. So thanks to my lovely wife for giving me that. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it was no real, to be honest with you, no real symptoms, just a bad head, and I felt like a bit weak and stuff. But apart from that, it's all good. Back in the podcast game. And do you want to be back in the podcast game? Probably not after
At this
last week's
moment.
performance. But yeah, apart from that, not a massive amount is going on in the world of Commanders. I believe that on the transaction wire, we signed a defensive end from from Chicago's practice squad, but I am not certain what his name is, to be honest with you, unless you've seen or heard anything about that, Scouse.
Yeah, it's a guy for the Chicago's practice squad. I can't remember his first name, but his surname's Harris.
That's right, yeah, yeah, that's
Can't
right,
remember
yeah.
his first name at the moment, but yeah, no one's ever heard of him, so I can't see him being a big contributor, to be honest.
No, I can't see it being a big contributor either. I think, to be honest with you, he is only there, which we'll get on to quite a nasty injury sustained in the New York game for FAO Varda, double leg break, both tibia and fib. So yeah, not ideal in any way, shape, or form, really, is it? He's going to be a miss, and obviously a free agent as well going into next season. So not ideal. To be fair to him, he did say tell the UK boys we're asking after them. And he's undergone surgery, so he reached out to me in DMs because I'll put that picture up of me and him again. So he needs to put his restraining order back on, probably. Um, but yeah, no, fair play. I hope he gets better soon. It was a nasty injury. One of them that unfortunately we've got. So I suppose basically we're on Misery Thursday again, and we'll get into it. Pretty certain, and we've got some fan questions, but let's review the debilitating loss to the New York Giants. 31-19. We'll look at the stats first, as we always do. Sam Howell, 31 out of 45 completions to attempts, 255 yards, one touchdown, three interceptions, four sacks, a QBR rating of 58.9, and one rushing touchdown. And in comparison, Tommy DeVito lit it up, became a Hall of Famer. Give him his gold jacket now. 18 of 26, 246 yards, three touchdowns, no interceptions. Did take nine sacks, but also QBR rating of 137.7. So, yeah, not a great game in any way, shape, or form. What was your thoughts on the game overall then, Scouse?
To be fair, I just thought it was a disgrace, to be honest. I'm just, it's so hard. I mean, obviously, by the time we record, I've always calmed down, mostly from like, from Sunday, Monday. But yeah, I mean, it tends to be that our defense just can't cut it when we need them, and it's so frustrating. And like, how many times have we said when we've played the Giants, even with Danny Dimes in their quarterback, it's always been, yes, his best game of the season against us. Oh, he's got our number, etc., etc. That's because
Yeah.
our defense just can't do anything against the Giants. Now I don't even know why that is. I mean, it's got to be something to do with scheme, because it doesn't matter who's back there. It's proven. It got proven this week. It doesn't matter who's back there, who's the quarterback for them. They still get success. Even in the first game, even Taylor had a decent game. You know what I mean? So all these things, they always come back to our players, our scheme, and Del Rio. So it's kind of, so I'm just annoyed. I'm annoyed with it all, to be honest.
Yeah, I am too. And I mean, honestly, it goes back to, if we look back at what people were saying afterwards. I mean, I'm not going to take the cornerback Banks's Instagram live, we're 17 and they had the opportunity to take me and all this because he's Maryland corner, isn't he? And we obviously didn't take him in the first round. But to be honest with you, he weren't that great, mate. You locked down Terry. Okay, I got that. I can see that. But was Terry targeted? Because as far as I recall, Sam Howell scored a touchdown against you rushing, and Jahan Dotson scored a touchdown against you too. But we'll not obviously question that because they were on the winning sides. No one got a shower, which was also an embarrassment to itself as well, having no hot water in FedEx.
I think it was a
You know,
punishment. I think it was a punishment. You
maybe
play
Mr.
like you play like shit. You're getting cold showers. Wake yourselves up, boys.
Maybe Mr. Harris decided that was what he was going to do. I don't know, Scouse, but yeah, I suppose we can break this down a little bit more. I mean, I have calmed down after it. Our post game mashup, we all wanted firings immediately. I think that's kind of where we're at in the season. And to be honest with you, if we lay a massive egg tomorrow, it could be expected that something is going to happen Friday morning. But at the other side of it, I can understand if Josh Harris does want to keep this lame duck staff till the end of the season. And the reason I say that is any staff that wants to come here in the future is going to look at that and think to themselves, after 10 games, am I going to be on the hot seat here? Am I going to be, what are they going to do? Are they going to get rid of me? Because he's come from the NBA. He has a background of being a sports franchise NBA owner, and they are quick to get rid of players. They're quick to trade. They're quick to get rid of managers, coaches, very very quickly in that side of sport. Not so easy to do that.
Staff, his head coach tends to last a while. From experience of seeing, that guy if for his basketball team, he was always he's only getting to the quarters or the semifinals in the playoffs, but he was getting there, and he was getting there regularly, and he wasn't getting fired.
I think,
and then he got fired eventually because he wasn't getting better.
I think the funny thing is fans are clamoring now for changes, and we know changes are coming, and change is going to happen at the end of the season for 100% certainty. But when you see people like Matt Canada getting fired, the offensive coordinator at the Bills, he got fired as well. Was it Ken Dorsey? Yeah, it was Ken Dorsey, wasn't it?
Yeah, for the Bills.
So when you look at that and you're seeing them in season, and then obviously the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders got fired a few weeks ago as well. But people have said who would take over, what would you do? I mean, where would you go with that, Scouse, if you were going to make a change, say Friday morning?
I mean, it's difficult. I mean, I think one of the questions from Hog on the Mountains is something about similar, about EB and things.
Well, let's have a look at that then while we're on the subject. So if we go to Hog on the Mountain, it said it's looking very difficult remaining schedule. Would the team actually benefit from moving EB to head coach after Dallas, considering that the entire coaching staff would still be Ron's guys? Does it really give EB a fair shake at him?
Well, the answer to that would be no. It wouldn't give him the fair shake because he couldn't change the whole coaching staff the way he'd probably wanted. But from what I'm used to in England, managers get fired all the time and staff stay around, and not the whole staff gets changed. Like, one or two, maybe even three guys might get changed around, but most of the time they keep the core of the actual coaching staff anyway, at least over the first season that they're there, and then eventually you kind of weed those out if they're not good enough. And I think that's because I'm used to seeing that kind of thing, that I want to see that now. And I understand from the problem is with the NFL for me is that it rewards failure. You are kind of, if you are bad, you will get the number one pick next year. So when it gets to a point, it gets to a kind of crossroad at a certain point in the season, so week 8, 9, 10, whatever, and then you're thinking, are we good enough to actually make it and do some damage in the playoffs and win things, or are we just going to be mediocre? And if we're not going to be good enough, well, why be mediocre? Let's be fucking awful. Let's be the worst you can be. Do you know what I mean? Let's be the worst you can be.
Embrace the tank.
Yeah, and then you get rewarded later on. And that's why coaches, when they're shite and they should be fired, they don't get fired until the end of the season. Because they go, well, if you're bad, well, fine, we'll carry on. Then you fight at the end of the season, but you've lost 4 more games for us, which means now we're third in the draft pick order. Do you see what I mean? So this is the problem. This is the problem. If NFL had relegation, if they had relegation, like the English Football League does, tell you what, there'd be firings every other week. I'm telling you now. Now, that's one of my biggest gripes, man.
We've been playing Duke University and JMU.
Yeah. XFL teams playing League One or whatever the hell it is. I don't know. I don't care. But the thing is, if they had that kind of thing, tell you what, he wouldn't be none of this crap. Not even talk of tanking. There wouldn't even be anything like that because he'd be like, wait there a minute. You know what I mean? So would it be fair on EB to take over? No, it wouldn't be. But to be fair, I would still do it. That's the problem. I would still do it because I'm done with one. I'm done with Del Rio. I want both them gone now. I don't care who's in charge of the DC at this moment for this season. This season is now done. There's no relegation, so it doesn't matter if we are so poor. And to be fair, the defense is 31st rated in the league. I mean,
Yeah.
so even if you give it to Matsuninga or Kerrigan, even though he's not ready, I know he's not ready for it, but even if you give him it, how bad is he going to make it? Not a lot. It can't be much worse than what we're seeing right now. So for me, I want changes now. I don't want to wait till the end of the season. I want to give these guys a shot. Yes, okay, it probably blow up in our face, but as you say, we get rewarded for being shocking. So might as well just go for it and see how it goes, rather than kind of going, oh well, let's leave one in charge and we know for a fact we're going to be poor. I'd rather just kind of like give somebody else a shot and see what they've got, see if they can actually impress.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I mean, if we go back to it, I don't think this was all on coaching. You have to say that this result at the weekend, this loss was on both the players and the coaching. You're right about scheme defensively. For the laying of the blame here, I would say 60% of the blame lays, maybe even more, 70-30, maybe lays with the defense rather than the offense. I mean, Eric Bieniemy is not making people fumble the ball. That is something he's not doing. But it was, and actually, we've screamed about it for a few weeks, to be fair, and said, I want more of a running, a balanced offense. And he gave us a balanced offense. I mean, overall, if we go back to the stats, and stats do lie, I understand that. But if we look at who had a decent game and who did well, I mean, in the receiving game, Logan Thomas was the top receiver there with 58 yards. And then on 5 reception, Brian Robinson got 58 yards off 7. Brian Robinson, 17 carries for 73 yards. Chris Rodriguez, 6 carries for 43 yards. We actually did run the ball. You know what I mean? We ran the ball at the weekend, but it seemed to work. B-Rob was finding holes. He was doing well. But then you look at it and you see Sam Howell's throwing picks again. He's holding onto the ball too long. He's getting sacked by Kayvon Thibodeau. The offensive line isn't holding up. Then you're fumbling 4 times. Thomas had a fumble, Pringle had a fumble, Rodriguez had a fumble, Crowder had a fumble, which was recovered. B-Rob had a fumble. And you think to yourself, that's actually 5 fumbles, but 3 were lost. Yeah, that's right. 5 fumbles, 4 were lost, one was recovered. You cannot win a game of football when that is happening to you. It's simply impossible. So that goes back to scheme again. And for me, the thing that caused us the problems on Sunday was the fact that the back end of the defense was either poorly communicating or didn't get the job done. Cameron Curl had his worst game I've seen him play in a long, long time. Kendall Fuller was juked out of his socks. Benjamin St. Juice, he's fucking hopeless this season for some reason. I don't know if it's the missing.
I'm going to call him, instead of calling him St. Goat, I'm going to call him St. Ghost. Because he's just not around anymore.
It's true. Is it? That's really good. I like you, Scouse. You put in a bit of swerve on this pod. You're doing well. What about? Is it Derek Forrest? Is that what we're missing? Is it the fact that they're linebackers? I mean, Christ! Shout out to David Mayer, who had the first half of his life.
Yeah, he was.
And then it just went nowhere.
Yeah,
after that in the second half.
And that's easy. So for me, it has to be. There's more than one problem. That's the problem.
Absolutely.
With this team. It isn't just a play call problem. It isn't just, a player not good enough problem. There's so many different things. There isn't just a communication error. It's multiple. I think it's ingrained. I think there's something in there that maybe half these guys don't like each other or something like that. It must be something like this because you can't be such a. We look like a gang of individuals out there, not an actual team. You're meant to cover for each other. One guy slips or whatever. You're meant to be there to sort that out, and we're not. That's the problem. We're just not there. So
here's one then for you, Scouse. John Taman brought this up on the Bleeding Burgundy. If you haven't subscribe to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. I am on there, as well as Scouse and his other show co-host, Andy Burrows, there from The Bunker. They are on there along with Jesse Martin, who's the host, and occasionally Keith Gray. We do a lot of podcasts over the week, so if you haven't subscribed to them, subscribe to them and subscribe to The Bunker. But yeah, John put the question out the other night on their show, and he said, has the culture changed since Ron has been here? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think the culture has definitely changed?
I'm gonna say, yeah, it definitely has been a lot better than it was. I mean, there's not many guys coming out. Before Ron showed up, there was players moaning continually to the reporters. Yeah. There's major leaks going on. As in, secret, kind of conversations that were getting put out there in the press. These things aren't happening anymore. So, I mean, the worst you're getting is John Allen saying that I'm pissed off. Do you see what I mean? So for me, that's nothing. So, there's definitely a massive culture change. I do believe that. I do believe Ron's done well in certain things, but as a head coach, unfortunately, not doing enough at the moment, and the players aren't responding to him anymore. I think that's the other issue. Before he was a motivational guy. That when he had the horrible C. And these things. The players played for him. They played the hearts out. And they played their best. Probably their best time they've played together. As in, was around that time when he was going through the cancer. So it's definitely this.
And do you think that's a
thing?
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that galvanized them then at that time?
100%,
and that's what made
100%.
them,
See what he was going through
guy.
And
yeah,
going,
of course.
That he was missing training after time, and they were still doing the business on the field at that point. It's kind of like, well, we're going to play for coach, etc., etc., and galvanized and made us a hell of a lot more closer knit team. But obviously, since then he's got better, which is great news. But then obviously, I think over time it just got back to the way it was. It was kind of like, there's no accountability here. It doesn't matter if I give up, 300 yards and a pick. What's the worst that's going to happen? Sorry, in the TD. What's going to happen here? What's the worst that's going to happen? And the answer's nothing, because he doesn't bollock anyone. He doesn't bench anyone. The only one he does bench is actually a rookie, which is so easy to do. Anyone with no balls could actually bench a rookie for having a bad game. He hasn't benched any of the superstars that who actually underperformed this year. He hasn't benched any Dewan Paynes. He hasn't benched, John Allen. All these guys that aren't producing, who are the superstars in our team, they've not produced at the level that we expect of them because of how good they were last year, year before that. And they're not like too old. You can't say, they've lost a step. They're just not producing. It's as simple as that.
But you have to justify that as well, though. So at the same time, as the head coach of the football team, you're justifying why you've paid Deron Payne that money, why you've paid John Allen on a big contract, why you've paid Terry McLaurin on a big contract, why you've brought in Eric Bieniemy from a winning Super Bowl franchise, who, for me, I'm not convinced by Eric Bieniemy in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, as a play caller,
very inconsistent. That's the problem with him at the moment. He's inconsistent. Right. 1 week he'll scheme a great game, next week he won't, and that's you can't rely on that. But I understand what you're trying to say. When you've paid this guy big money, you got to keep playing him.
Unfortunately,
you'll get it right eventually. You're going through a bad form,
and it's the same with free agents. You bring these free agents in who are your supposed marquee signings. It's like anything. If in our world in soccer, if Liverpool sign a striker for £45 million, you're gonna play him. And in the hope that, well, probably not now, because £45 million is not a lot in this day and age. Yeah, but you know what I mean by that. You're gonna play someone like that because you're justifying the spend.
The top talents always produce, though. Like if you were not paid 100 mil for Ronaldo or Messi, those guys are going to show up and turn on for you on the field every game, and they play 3 games a week, not 1 game a week for 3 months. See what I mean? So
I think it's one of them where you've got to say to yourself now, in the 4 years that Ron and this regime have been here, we're all at the end of the tether now. We're not going to argue. We're not going to shout and scream. It's not worth it now.
To be fair, mate, his time should have been gone end of last season, to be honest.
Probably right. You're probably right.
But we know going through the chain, the ownership crap, so I understand why he's still here. I totally understand that. But I think, and I understand why, Harris doesn't really want to fire anybody, at this moment, but it's kind of because there's no accountability throughout the squad, throughout the management, the coaches, no one's heads rolled. Like you look at other you mentioned some before.
Yeah, straight away.
Canada fired, OC for Buffalo fired. Right now, those guys weren't even the major problem. But
No,
what they did was they made them the scapegoat. So when well, you're not doing your job, you're fired. And what happened since they've been fired? Buffalo put 39 points up or 36 points up against the Jets, who won the best defenses in the league. You see what I mean? And what that does, that motivates players, that motivates the other coaches as well to say, shit, I need to sort myself out here. Otherwise, I'll be out the door as well. And, and these players don't leave a team like Buffalo. Okay, you might want to leave us, but still, it's that kind of thing of that motivates people, that puts people back on the swivel and go head on the swivel and say, shit, I need to sort myself out. And you get better in performances from it. It's as simple as that.
I mean, I mentioned this the other day. I said, if you made this roster, you made this 53-man roster here in Washington at Washington Commanders, and you're playing you're training at Ashburn, you're playing your games at FedEx Field, you have hit the fucking jackpot, the lottery of life, because not a single person is going to hold you accountable if you whiff, if you have a bad game, if you let up 7 sacks. No one gives a shit. If you're a defensive end and you can't get a sack, not a problem at all. Come over to Washington. Not a worry. We'll pay you an exorbitant amount of salary, make you a multi-millionaire, and you can stay here. Not a worry, without any thought or any inclination that you're going to get cut as a player, because the players have to take responsibility here as well. But as well as the coaching, there is a serious problem with coaching, and it's playing for a man motivator who is a player coach. He's not a motivator. He's not a Dan Campbell who's going to scream and shout at you. But this is the other thing. I said this the other day. People ask, how long does it take to turn a franchise around? We've had 4 years of this. Nick Sirianni, 1 year. Dan Campbell, 2 years. D'Amico Ryans, 1 year. They're turning it round within the time. So this is why it's massively important that when we come to the end of the season, because in all honesty, come Friday morning, there isn't going to be changes here. It's not going to happen. We know it's not going to happen. We could, unless we get really, truly embarrassed.
Or something like that.
Yeah, if we get truly, really embarrassed, like if it's a 50-point loss, a Miami and Denver early in the season where they've put up 70, something like that. If it's really, truly embarrassing, then yes, a head may roll, but not all of them. I mean, we could possibly see a Jack Del Rio fired or Ron fired and Jack Del Rio takes over as head coach. Or EB takes over. I don't know. In some way, shape, or form, someone may go Friday morning. But in all honesty, I don't think that's going to happen. I really don't think that's going to happen till the end of the season. So I'm not checked out with this franchise. I'll never be checked out with it because. But
we're always going to be there. We're always going to watch it.
But the season's
every week about it, and we're always going to be there. And
season's done though now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, everything changes, doesn't it? I mean, if you go on a 4-game win streak and everyone thinks everyone's going to say things differently, and you think you're going to make it the wild card game will make it and all this crap, because you're on a roll, you think you're going to make it, and the internal optimist comes out of you, doesn't it? I mean, it's a simple for nearly every fan. But yeah, I think we're done. I'd say someone's head needs to roll. It should. To be fair, someone's head should have rolled after the Bears game.
Oh, that was it. That was the opportunity.
That was the killer, right there, man. Right there. Now I get it. We've got a kind of a longer week if we fire somebody Friday. But again, what's the extra 3 days going to make a massive difference compared to what I would have done last week? You see what I mean? So there's not much of a huge difference from that angle. But for me, someone needs to go. And then hopefully you might get a slight reaction from the players, as in like the actual motivation and actually willing to win. Because I don't think this team wants to win, as in the players, they talk a game, but I don't think they want to play the game to actually be a winner.
Wow.
At this moment.
So Andy McCrory's actually sent us a question in, which kind of ties into your point there, Scouse. So he says, who would be your first choice GM candidate when Ron Rivera is relieved of his duties? Now, I find this quite difficult as a person living abroad because we're not always au fait on who the GMs are. But ideally, for me, you're probably going to want to look at a franchise that's doing very well. And I would suggest you're probably looking at your San Francisco's, your Philadelphia's, your Kansas City's.
Guys, actually, I've been looking a little bit, seeing who's going to be a possible main GM rather than
assistants.
Not. Well, yeah, because at the moment, some of these guys, the 2 guys that I've got in mind, are assistant GMs. Now, one, as you mentioned before, San Francisco, something like that, and he's one of the guys. His name's called Adam Peters.
Hmm.
He's been a scout since '09, and he's worked his way up all the way to the
Wow.
top,
Okay.
basically. So this guy knows how to find a good player, if that makes sense. So
Hmm.
when your GM's coming to draft, you want someone like that in the building. Do you know what I mean? So I think he'd be really nice to get if we can get him. Although I do think the 49ers just don't like us because obviously all the hatred between, the head coach and everybody else. And so I can't see him coming to us, even though I'd love to have him. The second one, now this guy's called Ed Dodds. He plays he's actually assistant GM at the Colts.
Okay.
The people can go, oh, what do you mean the Colts? They're not very good. But the thing is that this guy is he was doing really, really well with when in 2017 when they were getting that kind of a lot of high quality players. They came through the draft at that point. He's turned down other GM jobs, full GM
Wow.
jobs before, over the last couple of years. Last 2 years, he's been offered head GM. He's been like, no. So maybe the time for him is now to leave the Colts and go somewhere else to become his own man type of thing. And I think he could be another one that could be really good for us. So yeah, so one of those two would be quite nice, I think. And they're both young fellas as well, So if they do well, they could be here for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I haven't got any real standout GMs because, like I said, I'm not all over this. I'm really not. But you would obviously look to employ a franchise that's doing well, but at the same time, this is going to be down to Josh Harris, and we're going to have to just get on with it and think he's making this appointment, and it's probably his biggest appointment in this franchise, or it's going
Oh,
to be for at
massively!
least the next
It
10
is.
years.
I mentioned this last week and
Yeah.
to shows. This is the most important decision that he'll ever make. I think is this upcoming next year.
Mm.
I really do. Because if you hire it right and you let the GM just turn the wind up and then just let it go and let him run the show, which is what you want your owner to be doing. Really, to be honest, if you get it right, everything else will follow nicely because they'll hire the right head coach, and then you see what I mean, and then everything else just peters down nicely. So that's why it's so important that he gets that guy right more than anybody else.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. I do agree with you completely. We'll move on then, because I don't want to really spend that much more time on a game that we
Yeah,
can't get
it was just
anything
horrible. I mean,
from.
it was overall, it was just a horrible
Woeful.
performance.
Yeah, just
I don't understand why we can't get up for it. I don't understand why I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. The only fight I saw was actually Curtis Samuel trying to punch that guy's head. When he laid Sam Howell out.
yeah. And I mean, come on now as well.
But
Charles
that's the only
Charles
fight
Leno,
that I see
stop
him.
trying to be a fake tough guy. Just stop, just stop. Fucking body like a turnstile. Anyway, the sooner we get rid of him, the better. Honestly, I cannot wait to draft.
Yeah.
Honestly, then go. I mean, I know we shouldn't really talk draft talk, but we're there near enough. And I'm not sure if one of our questions actually came in around the draft, but we'll talk. Well, but yeah, we'll mention that a little bit later. We'll get on to what is my favourite segment of the show. It's Scouse's sizzle. Now, I'm pretty certain, Scouse, you're gonna have a sizzle this week.
Goes to sizzle, baby.
But I'll lie and Mike letting us know. And right, I don't know where to begin really, because I already kind of mentioned some of it before about how bad we are and how bad how bad that the NFL in general, how kind of things just rewards failure. I think that really pisses me off. But the thing is it's like the biggest thing that really pisses me off at this moment is that you can blame the referees again. The referees will always shite for us. But the thing is that we just aren't good enough. And that's what hurts me the most. And in general, just the whole team, the top players aren't being schemed open. Del Rio, I can't stand the guy. I think he should have been gone fucking ages ago. Schemes aren't improving. He's trying to change it up. They're still not doing it. He's still not producing. And I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of it. And one of the biggest things that's pissing me off as well at the moment in the media, social media side of things, is that a lot of our fans are saying Sam Howell, he's not the guy, he's this and that, the other again. It's like, mate, he's a goddamn rookie. He's played 12 games in his career. Give the guy a fucking chance, a real chance. Not we played well one game and then 4 games he's shite. No, give the guy an actual, genuine, real chance to actually produce. Stop getting on his case. it just fucking winds me up. I mean, I've got too many things I could go on off about. You know,
Keep going, vent it, let it out, let it out. This is a therapy Thursday. Let it out. It's not even Thursday, it's Wednesday. What are you talking about?
It's so frustrating, bro. That's the problem, man. You know, is that it wouldn't be if I didn't give a shit. It wouldn't really be bothering me. Do you know what I mean? Because, but I actually give a shit, and the players, they show that they don't care. They don't care about the fans. The fans are the ones that won't pay their wages. But besides that, they're there to. The players' job and being kind of, you know, overall is to give the fans some joy in their life, because at the end of the day, sport is a release from your normal day-to-day working life and the stresses of normal life. Do you know what I mean? So when we see this kind of crap year in, year out, what's that actually doing? It's actually making us feel worse for ourselves, isn't it? It pisses us off even more. So we've got a shit stressful life as it is, and then we go and watch the game on Sunday and we get destroyed, and it's like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? You guys are getting paid ridiculous millions to be shit. If I was that shit, I would be fired long time ago in my job. Okay, so you know,
absolutely. You spot on. I mean,
I'm
honestly,
absolutely fuming, man. You know, it's kind of.
You just get so down on a Monday.
Yeah, it's painful, man. It's painful to be a Washington fan. Now, people could say, well, why don't you just go away then and leave it alone? You can't. Once it's ingrained in you, man, you can't leave it alone. You know what I mean?
Do you know, that's the funny thing. I've heard that on social media, that so many people just go, oh, I'm off. I'm not interested anymore.
Yeah, I'm not interested until next season or 2 years down the line. Or
how do you do that? How do you move the franchise? Or how can you imagine you as a Liverpool just going, yeah, well, Man City are doing all right. I'll give them a watch.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be a City fan for now. No, I mean that's what you see. Like when people call fans, right? They're meant to be called. It's short for what? It's a fanatic. And what's a fanatic mean? What's fanatics mean? You actually are a fanatic. You live and die. You breathe that team. Everything about it, good or bad.
I mean, look, we're spending 4 hours a week on podcasts talking about who we've signed from the Bears practice squad. I mean, you can't really get much more than that, can you?
And the podcasting things, well, it isn't just 4 hours, because you've got to do a little bit of research beforehand.
Yeah, of course
you've got to do. So there's always extra hours that you're throwing in that on the side. That no, we love to do. That's why we do it.
We don't care about it really, but I know what you mean.
But what I'm saying is that you mentioned 4 hours. It's more than that. It's a lot more than that. And you know, you feel like you get kicked in the nads every Sunday when you see the team not perform. You're thinking, dang, man, like we thought we had a good team before the season started.
Honestly, we really did. I mean,
we really did. We thought we were going to be there. No, mate.
Ultimately, though, you said, I think I watched it back. You said your heart said 9 wins, but you went with 8, and I said 7, and I was with you at 9 wins. I thought, yeah, we could potentially get 9 wins, and we all said we'll probably back into the wild card and do that very last wildcard spot. And it's now 4 and 7. How wrong were we? I mean, honestly,
you've got to win. You've got to go and like virtually win out near enough. You know, we can lose one game, I think, and get away with it. Everything else, it's over. I mean, you know, it's over the season again, and it's another year. And the thing is, though, is that the off season and the preseason and all that, it's so long because the season's so short. And it's just painful because you talk about it every week, and even the off season you talk about it, and you really want them to do well, and you're really thinking, yeah, this guy be great for us, and this and that, the other, which again is great. But thing is, when we get these guys, we think, yep, we've nailed the guy, we've nailed it, and then they turn out to be fucking shite, and you're thinking,
in some ways though, imagine being a Chiefs fan. You got stability off the field, stability on the field. You're winning.
You got
how easy would it be? How easy would it be just to be like?
I think sometimes those type of fans will probably get complacent, as in like,
maybe,
oh, we win 14 games a year, you know, it's not a big problem, and you know, if we lose one, it's a biggest shock of the world. You know what I mean? Whereas us, we're used to losing.
If we beat a contender, it's a miracle. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I mean, you know, we get dicked a lot from refs. Even when we do play well, we get dicked on refs. When the game's close, that's where the referees get involved and fuck us. Have you ever noticed that? They don't get involved when we're getting hammered. They never get involved when we're getting hammered. You know,
true, actually.
It's only when we're close game. It might be a stupid, ridiculous call that wouldn't have been called at any other game ever. and then that kind of derails, like a momentum drive or whatever it is, and we lose. And we lose that because we're not good enough to overcome that crap. And the referees in the NFL know that. So, it doesn't help when you do have the referees against you. I genuinely believe they are against us. The NFL in general is against us. But I always blamed it on Dan. I thought that, because they hated Dan Snyder, we're not going to let them win at any cost. Basically, that's what I thought overall. But now that there's a new owner in, now I don't know if that was right at all, because the referees are still doing the same kind of shit. So, I don't know, man.
Well, it's Dallas week. It's a short week. It's a Thanksgiving game, so we'll preview the Cowboys game. So currently, the Cowboys are sitting in second place in the NFC East standings with a 7-3 record. We absolutely despise the Cowboys, no matter what you're going to say. An NFC East rivalry will always be close, or it should be. How am I expecting it to be close? Am I shite? It's not going to be close at all. So we'll go through their team leaders then at the moment. So Dak Prescott, obviously, he has thrown 2,604 yards so far, 19 TDs against 10 interceptions and a QBR rating of 74.6. Tony Pollard, 590 yards with 3 touchdowns on the season. And CeeDee Lamb with 1,013 yards. An average he's got 74 receptions in total this year and 5 TDs. So that's their offensive leaders. And on the defensive side, tackles Damone Clark, who's a linebacker. Micah Parsons, obviously, he's got 10 sacks this season so far. And Deron Bland has got 6 interceptions and 12 pass deflections as well. So this is a pretty good.
Hasn't he got 4 pick sixes as well? He's having
it's four pick sixes. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
he's on. So there he is.
So if Sam Howell plays anything like he did, obviously at the weekend, throwing these weird dink and dunk passes that I just didn't expect that from him. I mean, maybe we've got too complacent, as you suggested before, Scouts, where it's become like, oh, Sam's put he's put 3, 300 plus yard games up. Okay, he turned the corner. We know where we are. Then it's brain fart moment. And I don't know why he's at a brain fart moment, but it always seems to be that it's against the Giants. I mean, 2 of his absolutely poor games have been against the Giants. And one obviously against the Bills, which we remember. But there was 2 throws there as well on Sunday that could have easily been intercepted as well.
Oh, so 100%. I think
could end up with 5.
Martindale is a good coach. He is a good coordinator. Everyone knows what he's going to do, and yet you still can't kind of stop him. They are quite a solid defense, to be honest. Even though they're absolutely awful on offense, obviously, besides when they play us. But they are god awful on offense, but on defense, they're actually pretty decent still.
Yeah.
Even against the Dallas Cowboys a weeks back, it was like 7-0 up until like the middle of the second quarter, and then they got battered in the second half. But you see what I mean? Like they were in the game, but Dallas then just took it away because they were just better team, better players. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. And Quinn's no different. Quinn is a good defensive coordinator.
Exactly.
You know, former head coach as well, isn't he? So
good talent. Yeah. He's Atlanta Falcons head coach for a good few years. He's an excellent defensive coordinator. Dallas more recently are on fire. I mean, they're putting up 40-50 against everybody in the last 3 weeks.
Well, look at that. I mean, the last 2 games is 49-17 against the Giants, and then another poor side in the Panthers, 33-10 they won against the Panthers. So, is that realistically
really blows out? They really blow out after the second half. I mentioned from the Giants game.
They do, but I mean, is that not stat pandering because of the teams that they're playing are quite poor? I mean, we play
the Giants with the weekend up.
I know.
What we put on the board? You see what I mean? So, no, Dallas are a much better team. Now, the thing is with us here is that what we always know, don't we? We're 11-point underdogs at the moment, actually, against Dallas. Yeah. So, last time we were 11-point underdogs, Dallas, on Thanksgiving. 3 years ago when we beat them.
Oh, was that the wave, the Antonio Gibson wave? Okay.
Yeah, the Antonio Gibson wave and all the rest of it. So again, no one gives us a chance in hell, and that's when we tend to play our best ball.
You're right.
Really do. When we got no chance, when we're favourites, we tend to shit the bed every single time. home or away, doesn't matter. When do we play our best games? When we've got no chance. This week, everyone thinks we've got the 0 chance. What was it? Eagles last season, don't get no chance, beat them. Steelers got no chance, beat them. Do you see what I mean? So these are the times that we turn up when everybody in the whole world says that we are shit and we are not good enough.
It would be typical Washington to
it
go
would be
out
typical
and win
Washington
this
to
game,
pull it off, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it?
You just know it. You just know it would be.
I know that's the optimism in me, but I can't see it. But I definitely think it won't be an absolute hammering. I think it'll be a lot closer because it's I know we crap on prime time in general, but against Dallas, there's that extra rivalry. Like, it's being honest, right? The rivalry is not as good as it used to be. Nowhere near like it was when the Cowboys.
Oh no. And
no, unfortunately, we're probably never going to get that back. But what you see is that it's still a rivalry for us, even though we're so bad as a team, organization, whatever. And the Dallas don't think of us as a true rival anymore. They think Eagles are the rivals, and that's it now. So when you listen to them talk, it's always hatred between each other. Where us now, they kind of feel sorry for us, and that's how I feel. And that really pisses me off when you start getting to feel that even the Cowboys are feeling bad for you. It's like, oh mate, you're bad, So I want us to go, and that's why you see us. We can kind of nick games off Dallas. You know what I mean? Like last season, they were playing for the playoffs to win the division. We beat them at home. These things happen when we play Dallas. So I'm just hoping that we can produce again, an unbelievable performance, and we put it all together, and we probably win. But we'll have to see how that one goes.
Let's go through the injury.
Games against. Just to further case in point. Look, when we played the Eagles this season,
we've played them close both games.
Nobody has no one's put them 10 points down or more in any part of the game. In any game they've played, besides against us, twice.
Well, look at Kansas City. On Monday night, they weren't even close to them in the end. So
that's what I mean. This is what I mean. Like, it's we're like a bogey team to like the better teams in our division, but that's basic. Even though it's not, we win every game. But what it is like we really play them right to the end.
But we do play down to teams, and we also play up to teams as well.
Because if we play like we do against the Eagles, against the Giants, we'd smoke them. You see what I mean?
You just want consistency, don't you? You just want consistency. A level side that plays consistently. If you get beat by a better team, but you're consistently performing and you're giving everything for that jersey on the field, no one's going to give a shit. No one's going to. You're going to sit there and say, "Well, okay, yeah, it's disappointing, but we've got beat by the better side." When you can see that there's communication issues, people aren't talking to each other.
Yeah, with the fundamentals is not there. That's what it is.
Exactly.
The fundamentals just not there.
Exactly. That's it.
And that's what the coach is about. That's what it's all about. That's why you're going back to coaching all the time.
It is.
So
we'll get on to the injury report then, and we'll start with Dallas's injury report. So I've got it here in front of me. This is obviously Mondays as well. We haven't had Tuesdays yet because we're recording early. So
Tuesdays, it's Wednesdays we've not got.
Oh, Wednesday is, yeah. So this is Monday and Tuesday. Sorry, my apologies. So Rico Dowdle, running back, he's got an ankle problem and didn't practice both days. Peyton Hendershot, tight end, had an ankle issue. He was full go both days. Jerron Curse, who's a safety with a back problem, he hasn't practiced both days. CD Lamb, ankle, he's been limited both days. Osa Oduzuwa is a defensive tackle, hamstring. He was full practice both days. Terrence Steele, offensive tackle, ankle. He's been limited both days. And Kayvon Turpin. What I come out of turnip? He is a turnip anyway.
Well, he's like a turnip.
Wide receiver. He's got a shoulder problem. He's been full go both days.
I mean, there's only two guys, not even
CD Lamb maybe and
CD Lamb's he's full participant. CD Lamb, so he'd be fine. So I'm not. I mean, obviously, I'm thinking about guys who might not play. Rico Dowdle and Curse.
That's it. Yeah,
they're the main two really that you think. Okay, it'd be nice if they don't play because then they've got to use Pollard. If you think about Dowdle, they've got to play Pollard as in like the bruiser running back, which he isn't. Mm-hmm. So he uses less. So that'd be quite nice if Dowdle's not available, and obviously Curse is a starting safety. So always useful to have a starting safety not playing against you. So But the others, I'm not really bothered about because Lamb's going to play, and the other guys just are fringe guys anyway. So
yeah. So we'll get into our injury report then. So fullback Alex Armour's got a hamstring issue and hasn't practiced both
he'll be
days.
out again. He'll be out again.
Yeah, Emmanuel Forbes with his elbow obviously came off the field against the Giants. He hasn't practiced both days, trending towards not playing. Dijon Harris linebacker. He's got a quad problem, hasn't played or hasn't practiced both days.
Special teams, we'll get somebody else in practice squad to do that. That's fine.
Kaliki Hudson, linebacker, he's got a back problem. He was not listed on the injury report on Monday, but did not practice Tuesday.
Well, that's trending in the wrong direction. So
another one that's trending in the wrong direction is defensive end James Smith-Williams with a hamstring. He has not practiced both days. Antonio Gibson, running back, toe injury. He's been limited both days. Quan Martin, shoulder. He's been limited both days. Sam Cosme was limited yesterday, but limited Monday, full Tuesday. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel was full on both days with a toe. Unfortunately, we've already talked about it. F.A. Obada was tibia and fibia fracture. Obviously, did not practice on Monday and then went to IR on Tuesday. And the only one that's coming back is
He's been on IR like that day, to be fair.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I know he did. Cody Barton, ankle injury. He was a full participant and is looking like, yes, they will activate him in his 21-day window and he will be playing. Woo! Another white linebacker who's awful. You know what I mean? Honestly. And that's not being generalist. This is like Cody Barton is the antithesis of why we have a problem at linebacker. He is absolutely no better than Cole Holcomb. In fact, he's probably worse. But,
yeah, very similar guys, good tacklers, but good tackler-ish, as in all level of tackler, which is crap. But you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, he's not going to move the needle, is he? Let's face it, he's not moving the needle for us. So
not at all.
So yeah, I'm not bothered about him personally, but yeah, I mean, the only one I'm really concerned about really is Forbes.
And James Smith-Williams as well for me, them two.
He was out last week. I expect him to be out this week as well. See what I mean? So,
who's covering that? Jones and Henry.
Yeah. They're the two guys you got left, isn't it?
Tuhill. Tuhill's the only other one. Isn't it?
So you only got 3 or 4 other dudes. That's why they got that Harris guy from
from
Chicago.
Sense.
You see, because they're a bit lost a few guys, a little bit thin on the ground at the end at the moment. But yeah, man. I mean,
makes the trade look.
It makes it looking worse now, doesn't it? Exactly. Yeah, but hindsight's 2020, isn't it? The thing is, for me, is like, I mean, Deron Payne, man. I mean, he is giving out the pain, but to his own players. Have you noticed that? Obviously, he done big FA in, and then what the year before? Who did he do? Mathis?
Remember. Yeah, it was Mathis.
Did Mathis
before on day
same kind of thing?
One.
He came and he run across and landed on the guy's leg. So it's twice now. He's injured guys for long term. So, Payne's got to sort himself out, bro. He's hitting his own players rather than the other team. Into delivering the pain to them, not to our players.
So we'll get into our fan questions then, Scouts, to finish this off. We've only got 3 more to go through. So the first one is Commander Viscount. He's actually sent us a couple in. So thank you for sending these in. Mm-hmm. Appreciate your constant sending the questions in. It says, the season is all but over in terms of playoff hopes and the fan base want Bud. However, what is the best course of action for Sam's development? Now, in my own thoughts here, I would love to see EB stay and Sam use that same playbook and get used to the system and be able to play on. But unfortunately, I don't see that happening. I think that Sam's good enough. I think he's confident enough. I think he's young enough and more intelligent enough to learn another playbook. But hopefully a simplified playbook for whatever offensive whiz kid comes in as our new head coach calling plays, because that's where I want to go. I want to go with an offensive mind. Whether that's EB or not, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens and what this what this off-season brings to us. But for Sam's development, it's now about towards the end of the season for me. It's just seeing, have we actually physically 100% got the guy? I'm on the train with you, Scouts. We've talked about this before. I think he is the guy, and I think he's going to make mistakes. All quarterbacks make mistakes. All quarterbacks throw picks. Mahomes threw a pick the other night. Jalen Hurts threw a pick the other night. Josh Allen threw 5 2 weeks ago. No one's screaming about that. You know what I mean? It's just
exactly.
It's a tough one. Everyone has a shit game occasionally, if you want to go that way. You know, everybody in life does it.
Yeah, I've more ups and downs.
Scouts, do you go to work, right, every day and go, I'm having the best day I've ever had? Do you know what I mean? I'm performing at 100% level. No, you fucking don't. Nobody does. And they're lying if they say they do.
True, man. It's different. I suppose in sports, you know,
in sports it's different. I understand that. It does get highlighted more, but I'm all in on the wagon for Sam Howell. All I want to see is he 100% the guy? I want to see a higher touchdown to pass it to interception ratio. I want to see him develop in this EB system to show us exactly what we've got moving forward. And I hope that wasn't too much of a generic answer.
I don't like having quarterbacks having to learn playbooks every year for different teams or different coordinators coming in every time. It just it really does stunt the growth of any quarterback, not just Sam Howell. Anybody who's had that kind of issue, who've had like 3 play callers in 3 years, and you know, even Hurts had an issue with that as well because he had a few OC changes, right? You know what I mean? So these things happen. But really, for me, you want to keep EB on board, as you mentioned. I want to give him
fair crack at the whip,
where I feel the actual scheme is. He knows it inside out, back and forward. Subconsciously, it's all there. He knows it all. At the moment, that still isn't the case. And our wide receivers, the problem is that our wide receivers are being schemed in a way that they're all stuck together. I don't understand what that's about either, to be fair. So that's something that's poor on EB's part. But for what I'm trying to look for the rest of this season is, it is about kind of getting Sam Howell everything that he needs to kind of produce still and produce at a high level, that he has more good games rather than bad. And that's all you can ask for the rest of this season. But we're not going to win. I don't like where EB's still on 5th. I don't like him playing 45, 50 throws a game. I don't like that idea.
Yeah, I don't like that.
I understand it's a passing league. I get it. I understand that, but you shouldn't really be asking a second-year quarterback, but first year in this scheme, and he's had 0 experience before EB come in, really, to do that. So to do 45, 50 throws a game, I'm not expect to get picked off 3 or 4 times a game. So I prefer EB to stay at least to the end of the season, but I think that it might have been nice to keep him for next season as well. But the problem is that if you are going to get a head coach that is offensive minded, like you're mentioning there, that what you want, then EB's not going to go. He's not going to stick it out at OC because the head coach is going to do it. You see what I mean? So they're going to boot him to the curb. So it's a very difficult situation because either way you look at it, there's always an up and a down because of it, a pro and a con because of it. So you know, we mentioned before, we sack if we sack Ron mid-season and give EB the job, but then he's doing head coaching job and not really doing his main job, which should be sort of helping Sam Howell. To see what I mean? So because some of his attendance being taken away. Flip side, you know, again next season as well, similar thing, wouldn't it? If he was head coach,
it would be. Yeah, absolutely.
So is somehow
unless he's going to play cool. You know, unless he stays as head coach and he wants to run the offense as well. But that's a lot to take on.
But if you're developing a QB, all your time's got to be developing him rather than if you're head coach. Your job is to oversee everything. You know what I mean? So it's a big upgrade for EB. So that he's not really done it. He's never done it. And
you know, for me, Scouts,
it's a hard question, man, because there's so many pros and cons to it all, whatever way you go.
I mean, for me, it's an interesting one because, you know, Sam Howell is better than advertised, in my opinion. I think he's been better than what we thought he was actually going to be. If I look back at this now, I actually think, do you know what? Sam, he's nearly top of the charts on passing. He's nearly top of the charts on touchdowns. Okay, he's taken a lot of sacks and he has thrown some interceptions and he's had 2 or 3 absolutely abysmal performances. But that happens. But for me, he's been better than I was expecting him to be this year. And I don't know who that's down to. Is it down to Tavita Pritchard, the quarterback's coach? Is it down to the way he's being mentored through EB? Is he down to him as an individual person coming from a football family where his dad's a coach? He understands the game. He understands how it's played. He understands the off the field, the sacrifice, the things that need to happen. Is that why Sam is better than we think he is? Because I think he is. I absolutely do. And I think, yeah, I'm definitely on board. And I hope that we do, in a way, I want to see EB stay, but I also want an offensive coach. And as you said, it's ups and downs, Scouse. So it's really difficult to answer that question, to be honest. Well, Commander Viscount also put another one in, and he says, what a shame we're starting to contemplate our 2024 draft pick. Currently 7th and likely to be higher given the strength of the schedule. What position do we pick? An elite tackle, a tight end, or do we trade down for more picks? Wearing your GM hats, what do we do?
I think we're both. I think we're both going to be in the same, agreeing on the same thing here.
I think so too.
You know what I like. You know what I like. You know, like the old line. You know, like the big buttons up front. And we need to get a premium left tackle. It's as simple as that, man. Premium left tackle. So Joe Alt.
Joe Alt's my man.
There's also the other guy as well. Is it
Fashanu? Olu Fashanu? We're not going to get
Fashanu,
him. He is going to be a top 3, top pick minimum.
Well, it depends, doesn't it? Because there's a high
quarterbacks,
level, of quarterbacks who are high level coming out this year. So it would be interesting could you trade down a little bit? Maybe there's 1 or 2 spots and get something nice, an extra nice second round or something just to add in. That would be nice as well. But again, you got to see how the chips lie. But for me at the moment, what I'm looking for is the premium left tackle. We need a premium left tackle. So go and get me.
Joe Alt is my guy for me. 100% for me. 100% for me. That is exactly where we're going. I mean, we're trending towards probably. I had a look at the strength of schedule, who's playing who. I had a quick Google search of the next few weeks, and there are teams who are lower than us playing other teams that are lower than us. So eventually chips will fall that I think we'll end up with the 5th overall pick. Is the way I'm looking at it.
I think that is quite reasonable. I think, I say I don't believe, besides this Dallas game, because I just think we're against all odds and we might show up. Besides that, I don't even think we've even got a chance of beating anybody else. I mean, even this game, it's kind of sketchy. You just go, you're going off kind of, random stuff. But I have a feeling that we could be close in this game, whereas the rest of the games, forget it.
Yeah, so on that point then, Scouse, Scott G has asked us, knowing mass changes are coming, what do you want to see over the final 6 games of the season? Now, I mean, we can go through the schedule as we've got it, because I've got it up in front of me here, and I'm pretty certain you probably know it off the top of your head anyway. So looking at this, Dallas, realistically, probably not going to win that. Miami...
We'll lose, but obviously
yeah, I know. Miami at home,
loss.
No chance. Away at Los Angeles, coming off a bye week. Oh, no idea.
I think that's a 50 game, but I still think we'll lose.
Yeah, I do too. New York at New York with their defense.
It's the Jets you're on about.
Jets, yeah. This is the Jets, yeah. Is Aaron Rodgers going to be back by then? No,
I think it's a ridiculous claim that he'll be back available for that game, to be fair. People are saying he might be back. I'm like, mate.
I know.
You're taking some voodoo shit or something to get yourself ready for that.
He's dropping back and taking passes, but I know it's just...
That's ridiculous. That is Achilles for 3 months.
It's crazy, isn't it?
No chance, man. That's ridiculous if he is. It's stupidity as well.
But even so, they have probably one of the best defenses in the entire NFL, and that is a lot.
You know what Robert Saleh's going to do? He's going to confuse Sam. He's going to show major different looks. I mean, that guy is an elite defensive coordinator. I know he's a head coach now, but he is elite at organizing his defense and show him so many different bluffs and so many different things. He's so difficult to play against, to scheme against for EB. That'd be a big challenge for him.
Then we've got
a
loss there too for me, and then we've got at home to San Francisco 49ers and the return of Chase Young. Yeah, there's no chance for winning that game.
Yes,
no chance of winning the 49ers.
We lost there.
And then final game at home to Dallas.
Well, again, that one more than likely will be Dallas have already guaranteed playoffs, and
unless so that's that.
And they're not going to catch the Eagles 9-1, man. I mean, they're not going to lose enough games for him to even think about, like last season where he might have had a chance to get to
So
win the division.
I honestly think we're going to lose out. I think we're going to lose every single game.
I think it's a genuine possibility. I really do. Especially that, I mean, knowing our luck, we'll probably beat Dallas twice.
Yeah, and we'll probably beat the Rams as well. And there's 3 wins. So you're looking at, oh look, we've got 7 wins.
Mid-table again, exactly. You know, yeah, cheers.
back to pick 11. Yeah, cheers for that.
Okay. I mean, and that's the thing. So I understand. This is why it's so difficult, because a lot of players, a lot of fans will go, well, just leave one in charge, you lose all them games.
Yeah.
Then you get the highest draft pick. But again, I hate that kind of attitude of, well, we want to win. That's the whole point of playing football, to win games. That's what it's about, man.
So what do you want to see then over these next 6 games then?
What I want to see is there's no injuries to Sam Howell. That's what I want to see. No big-time injury. For any of our star players, any of the star players, no injuries, please. Especially long-term injuries. I want to see things that are you can tell that they've been coached, and that it's showing an improvement in a certain aspect. So, for example, all those fumbles, the peanut punch was the one, man. Every single time it was that. So this week, I want to see that if those peanut punches are happening again, because other teams are going to be watching our film last week and go, they can get a lot of fumbles from that way of tackling. No fumbles from that way of tackling. Yeah. And then that'll tell me, okay, yeah, the players not just switched on, but they've been coached how to protect that ball better from the peanut punch. So little things like that, that's what I want to see. I want to see little changes that actually, yeah, well, the coaches have done something and the players have responded. That's what I want to see.
Yes, that's what it's for me as well. It's quicker adjustments on the fly. You know, I don't want to wait till half time for adjustments. I want to see us calling good games. Don't have to win, but I want to see consistently good calling games, as in, you know, it's a balanced offense. It's running as the ball as well as, you know, throwing the ball. I mean, Brian Robinson, we've seen him out the backfield. He's dynamic. You know, he's dynamic in what he's doing. Sam Howell, I want to see the poise. I want to see the pocket presence. I want to see him take less sacks. And I want to see the offensive line try and step up a bit more, which is going to be difficult. It's going to be.
I want to see Stromberg when Stromberg fit again. I want him in the team at centre. I want to see what he's got.
Good shout. That's a very good shout. Well, that about does us then, Scouts. Before we go and we leave for this week, what's your prediction then? I'll put you on the spot and we'll try it.
You know what? We're going to win this game. We're going to win it. 21-20. That's what we're going to do. We're going to win it.
Wow. 20. I'm going to write this. I'm writing this down in the Big In Boss book. 21-20, did you say?
Yeah, 21-20 to us. Yeah. I think we'll get the pick at the right time and all the rest of it. Dak will always give you a chance to pick him off, you know. But yeah, I mean that's just my heart really. But my heart's picking that one, but I'm going to take it anyway. That's
33-17 Dallas.
I don't even think. Yeah. They put more than likely. Probably you'd be more closer than I will, I think. But yeah, we'll see.
But either way, we will be back talking on the show on Thursday. Next week, we'll be back on with another episode. This is obviously recording a little bit early because of the game on Thanksgiving, and I can't even remember what day it is. So that's not been good at all. You can catch Scouse on the Bunker. They record on a Monday and a Friday. So if you haven't subscribed to them, you can also catch Scouse, because he's moonlighting everywhere at the minute, on a Sunday normally. And obviously, normally on a Sunday morning on Red Zone in the Lab UK with Deuce and Christian from the UK HTTC blogs. That is on YouTube. You can search for Red Zone in the Lab and you'll find Scouse on a Sunday before the game. You can catch me.
That's a live show as well. That's a live show. It is a
live show, yeah. You can catch me on the Bleeding Burgundy podcast. I'm on there on a Monday evening and a Friday evening. We also have a pick show on a Saturday where we pick all the NFL games and look at what's going to happen, wins and losses. And we also have, straight after the games have finished, we have a 20 to 30 minute session vent normally between Scouse, Mr. Burrows, John Taman, Keith when he's available, and Jesse. So we call it what's it called? I don't even know the mashup is what we call it, but
yeah.
I can't remember what he calls it. It's bleeding burgundy in a bunker after a 1-point safety. That's what it is. But there you go. But yeah, thank you for listening and thank you for subscribing and downloading as always. Really appreciate you putting the questions in as well to us. And take care and let's beat Dallas.
Bye.